My name is Charlotte Thompson Iserbate, and I served as Senior Policy Advisor in the United States Department of Education under the Reagan administration, during which I had access to all of the most important documents for the restructuring of not only American education but global education.
Whoa.
And I'm also the author of The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America, which gets into all of this, gives the background of what I saw not only in the Department of Education but as a local school board member.
To be honest with you, I think I have the best comment section around, in my opinion. Most of the negative comments are quite cautious and classy, and I'm really impressed. And one thing that has been such a huge blessing for me is the fact that you contribute to the quality of my content. Splodgeroo dropped a comment and asked that I listen to Charlotte is a bit. And I replied and said, yes, I would take a look at it and do a reaction to her video. And that's what this video is about today. They said her work sets out to prove with documented facts the planned societal ruin through manipulation of the education system, which has clearly happened. And like Rand, it's worse than they could imagine, or they could have imagined at the time. So I'm sharing this with you. This is my first time of watching Charlotte's content. So let's jump in and leave your comments in the comment section about what you think about the video and whether it resonates with you.
I was trained to identify the resistors to the sex ed, drug ed, alcohol ed, suicide ed, death ed, those good, smart Americans who realize that anything that has education hanging off the end of it is probably not what they're looking for. I was trained to identify those good people and to go up against them, and actually to go and try to get them to join us through the group process system.
Oh, really?
Make them feel important, get them on a committee. And that just blew my mind. I have to say, people often ask me, what is it that got you involved in education? Well, finding out what I saw at the local level certainly upset me. When I went and I saw that Americans were being trained to identify resistors, then I got pretty upset. And luckily, there was a big book that came with the in-service training called Innovations in Education, A Change Agent's Guide. And I was able to take that back home with me. Unbelievable examples of how to con the Christians and different people who are upset with what you're trying to do, how to bring them over to your side, case studies, true case studies of educators who had put programs in that normally, in a normal American town, nobody would want them.
Why would they? It's become a thing where the first people that are identified as those who are innately able to resist social programming are people of faith, especially Christians. And that handbook she talked about basically sounds like a Marxist handbook. And I'm shocked that this happened under the Reagan administration. Ronald Reagan has been said to be one of the greatest presidents we've ever had, but awful things like this happened under his watch. This is insane.
How did they manage to get them in? How did they con the people? And the other thing was, not only was I trained to identify the resistors, I was trained to go to the important people, high profile, highly thought of people in the community, with the Rotary and Chamber of Commerce,
influencers,
Garden Club, you name it, the different groups in our towns. Go to them and convince them of the importance of these new programs like sex ed, drug ed. I just mentioned all of them.
Look at that.
And to get them on your side, because when you can get the leadership in a community to go along with it, then the newspaper comes in and says, a committee's been set up with the head of the Rotary and this and that, and they're all getting behind this task force to discuss whether we're going to have a new sex education program. And then when Mary Jones, who ordinarily would think, why would we want to have a sex education program when we don't have any problems with kids having sex or anything? So she might be concerned. She might be one of the resistors. She reads that her best friend, who's the head of the Garden Club, is on this committee, and she thinks, oh, well, hey, Mary Appleton is on that committee. She's heading it up. It must be okay.
This is a systematic Look, it's brilliant, it's genius, but it is evil. It's evil. Um, Jesus always says the children of darkness are wise in their generation. They've planned out how they will target, first of all, the influencers. Those influencers then attract press, and then the press spreads the message that the influencers are in support of this program, and everybody else who would have openly objected to it sees these influencers they respect, and they say, well, since they've endorsed it, we might as well go ahead with it. That is amazing.
So I was taught really how to con the community. They always call everybody by the first name. You have to get very, affectionate with people, and you say, William, I'm so glad you've come to this meeting, and I understand your concerns about this program because, I've had other people. Usually it's the really bright people in the community who have these concerns, and would you like to join our group? The original program was funded by what would subsequently become my office. It was funded by the Office of Research in the U.S. Office of Education, because it was funded early on, about the late 60s. Still funded, by the way. And the money went to the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor to a professor by the name of Ronald Havelock. And he was the one that put together the whole training, the whole seminar, the book. And in the back of the book they admitted it. Right in the back of the book, they had about 100 major change agents listed from all over the country. Some of them I recognize, some I still don't, but some I do. And so this was a very important project. And it was being carried out I'm sure, all over the country, not just where I was. This was in Searsport, Maine, this lovely little town on the coast of Maine, in the school there where the guy came in, the facilitator, not Professor Havelock, but a facilitator, to train us. And these were good people that were there. They were some of the teachers from my school, where I was on the local school board, principals, etc. Normal-looking Americans. You really ask yourself, they must themselves have reacted very much the way I did. That's why I've always had a lot of understanding for teachers that have to go through this stuff. I didn't have to continue going through it. They've had to, through the years, constant training, retraining, sensitivity training, break their values.
Yeah. It's basically, I think it's basically a herd mentality. What do you think? When you have a group of people who are put together in a situation where they're being trained on something, and they look over to the left and right, and they see all these people who are in this huge hall being trained on the same thing, and they all look normal. No one comes dressed like a super villain. They all come looking normal, and you're like, well, that's so and so. I know that they have kids here, and that's so and so, and they're very normal people. Oh, I know that person. They go to my church. And you relax, you let down your guard, and then they teach you these things and tell you, hey, these are important things for the next level, and we don't want to be left behind in the cutting edge of global education. I mean, those are the kinds of buzzwords that you hear at such trainings.
Right, no wrong. You've got to have all religions represented. So, tolerant of everything, and because Tolerance. That's the New World Disorder, excuse me. Professor Benjamin Bloom is probably the most important behavioral psychologist ever to live. I mean, maybe not quite as much as Pavlov and Skinner, but he really implemented the system in education in the United States. And he was the author of The Taxonomy of Educational Objectives. And I know that doesn't mean much to us. It means a lot to teachers. They know. All teachers have to go through that, Bloom's taxonomy. And just to give you an idea of how blatant they are, Benjamin Bloom said the purpose of education, and I often say this to parents, really, listen to this. You think the purpose of education is reading, writing, and arithmetic? The purpose of education is to change the thoughts, actions, and feelings of students.
Okay, so I have a bunch of you that say you don't like me talking over videos. I have to. It's YouTube's fair use rules. I can't just play back her video as if it's mine and I'm reacting to the video. So I do apologize, but it is the rules on YouTube. You can search for her name and find the original video. There are tons of videos. I had to pick this one because it was the right length and the right subject matter. Just wanted to chip that in for those of you who have been sending in those comments. Here's the thing. I have taken it upon myself to create a parallel educational system for my kids. All right. The school's responsibility at this point is teach my children math, English, social studies, all of the things that they should teach in school. I know that other ideologies are being stuffed into the curriculum. So at home, I handle that. Okay. I'm not going to tell you what, if you want to know what I do with my kids, here's a plug. Sign up for the membership, and then I can have a private stream with you guys and discuss what I do with my kids to keep them from being reprogrammed, because there's a lot of reprogramming happening, just like she said. Let's keep going.
And then he goes on and he says, he defines good teaching, and this is even worse from the parental standpoint, as challenging the student's fixed beliefs.
Wow.
And then in some of his works that I have, that are in my book, a lot of this stuff is in it.
When he says challenge, does he mean challenge or does he mean change? Change their fixed?
Yeah, through challenging. It's through challenging.
So if you send your kids to school and you've trained them with certain values at home, the idea is once they have your kids for that period of time, every day, every week, their job is to deconstruct your kids, strip away all of the fixed values that as a parent, as a godly, God-fearing parent, you put in your kids. It's their job to strip away those values and replace them with whatever they want.
You go up against them.
Huh.
And you change them. And you asked a good question, because then he goes on in one part of the taxonomy that is in my book. He says that he can take a student from here to there, from a belief in God or his country or whatever, to being an atheist and not believing in his country in 1 hour.
What?
Did he do that?
Oh, yeah. He does it. And I've seen it with students. I've seen it with young people. And they don't even know. And teachers don't even know. That's why if you talk to teachers about it often, they'll really have an awfully hard time dealing with it. And if you go up to a superintendent, an educational administrator, superintendent or whatever, and you ask him or her, have you ever been through sensitivity training?
Huh.
They'll usually crack up because they went through it.
Oh, my goodness.
They're the worst, those programs. I've been through them. I mean, how can anything be worse than some of the ones that the regular classroom has? But they're the worst. To bring about change, they put them through role-playing, psychodrama, all these psychological techniques where they play the part of starving children, and the other one plays the part of a very wealthy industrialist child. And, they bring about the attitude and value change through the emotions. You know how young people are. They're naturally very altruistic, and they want to help, and they don't like to see poverty around the world. And so what they'll do is, just like I think I mentioned to you earlier, or I don't know whether I did, going into the teacher putting in the new social studies program in our community and walking through, taking the little tots through town and identifying big rich people's houses and small poor people's houses. That's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Getting them young and making them feel sorry for the people who live in the trailer across from the captain's house.
This sounds like the beginnings of critical race theory. Let me know if you agree that it's tilting in that direction, because here they started with identifying those who have and those who have less. And then it's gone on over the years and has evolved into those who look one way and those who look a different way.
Because they only eat hot dogs, not steak. And then they'll do the same thing with Ethiopia or wherever, some third world country, showing them the children dying, and then they'll show pictures of our affluent. And what do you eat for breakfast? Oh, you have eggs and bacon and cereal and orange juice and grapefruit and everything. Yum, yum, yum. Do you really think it's fair?
And they teach you to hate your country.
Common unity. That's what we call it. Common unity. It is no role for the individual in the community. And for everything that goes on in the Soviet Union or communism is based on the community, the commune.
I am shell-shocked. I've listened to this, and 2 years ago, I did a video, and it's titled Our Children Getting Dumber. It's linked somewhere on the video on a card, and I will add it to the end screen of this video so you can head back and watch that video. It is an older video. I did it 2 years ago, and I asked the question, are our children getting dumber? And I brought up a few light statistics, and it's a short video, and I would like you to take a look at it and let me know what you think of that video. This is insane. I don't use the word insane much, but this is insane. And this is the danger. Like, I feel like we should keep our eyes wide open. I am not an ardent follower of the left or the right. All right. So if I were in America, I would not be a Democrat or a Republican. I would vote Republican because in this election, the values that they stood for are closely aligned with my faith, and I would do that. Whenever the left sides that they want to do the same and go further than what the Republicans are doing, then I would vote for a Democrat candidate if they ever do that. But it doesn't look like they will ever do that because the Democrat Party has been captured by Marxists and communists and socialists. I don't think that is going to end anytime soon. But whenever it ends and they come up with a candidate who actually mirrors the values of my faith and common sense, then I'll vote that way. And listening to this, it enrages me on the inside because I've always thought that the Reagan administration was the best administration ever. I thought that they had everything nailed down, and I did not know they had a snake in the educational system doing this. Let me know in the comment section what you think. I don't know what else to say, but to just say, look, we have to keep an eye on our kids. We have to keep an eye on what they're being taught. We have to do the work as parents to interject ourselves into their education. Now, we have to take the responsibility of being a part of the process. And that might mean occasionally sitting with them and speaking with them. I will tell you what I do with my kids once you come into the membership section, and then you can ask me all those questions because I don't know. I feel like it's too soon to start discussing some of these things in the public space. I have a bunch of people who think that my position on a lot of things is not nonpartisan. I am not bipartisan. Nonpartisan doesn't mean bipartisan. It doesn't mean that I like both sides. No, nonpartisan means you stand apart, you hold no affiliation with both sides, and then you decide on whose values align closer to yours, and that's what you run with. Okay, that's what nonpartisan basically is. And when I look at issues like this was happening under a Republican president. Okay, I have to confirm that. Let me know in the comment section. I am not going to open the browser and search. I think Reagan was Republican. I think. Let me know if I'm right or wrong, but I think he was Republican. And all of this was happening. We've celebrated Reagan, and this started in his administration. That is awful. I have linked her book in the show notes of this episode. Please use the link to visit the store and pick up her book. I will see if it is also available in Audible, so you can use the free Audible trial to take a listen to her book without needing to pay. It's a 30-day free trial. Use the link in the show notes to create your own free Audible account, get her book, and then listen to it and learn what has been happening to your country all this time. And she said it's actually happening across the world. I remember elementary school when I was in elementary school in the 80s, in the early 80s, early to late 80s. Elementary school today is horrible. And I know that most of you feel the same way. You feel like you ask yourself, what are they teaching in schools today? And I think this is the explanation that we've all been waiting for. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Leave a link, leave your comments. Let me know if you have other ideas. Thank you for suggesting these voices that we should review and discuss. Keep sending those suggestions. I would not have known about her if you did not let me in on what you know. So thank you for doing that in the comment section. I read all the comments, and that's why I could find this gem and share it with you. So let me know. I'm just shell shocked. I'm trying to deal with this, but you know, it's hard to just pretend like this is just another video for me, and it actually reinforces my concerns about what our children are being taught in schools. So leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. We have a bunch of you who are listening who are not subscribed. Please subscribe so that, and hit the bell icon so that when fresh videos are released, you get notified. You won't get notified if you don't hit the bell icon. So please hit the bell icon so that when we release these videos, you'll be notified. And if you've subscribed and you forgot to hit the bell icon, please do so that you will get notified and not miss any of the new videos that we are going to be producing together, because now you're sending me content that I'm reviewing, and it is amazing that I never heard of her. So that's it for today, and YouTube believes that this video will be a great one for you to watch next. And don't forget that I also have the other video about that I did 2 years ago, our kids getting dumber. Please have a listen and let me know what you think in the comment section over there.